Evening, people, and welcome to BNR. If you're probably expecting Avi, probably expecting Gene or anybody else, I'm sorry, I'm alone today. One is fireplace shopping, holding his buddy's hand, probably expecting to get the credit card out and pay for it. And the other one felt like he needed to go to Turkey again, but here I am, the lone soldier. So you'll have to help me out tonight, guys. I don't want to let you down. I don't want to cancel the show, and you'll have to help me out if you're going to make it into a bit of a Lask v Liverpool preview. Then we can do, albeit that is the theme. That is the as Jay says, Lone Ranger, Lone Ranger. Jay, you need to help me out today. You need to help me out. But like I said, I didn't want to cancel. It was really, really short notice. I think it would have been bad news. I thought let's come in and have a chat with the people. So if you're coming in, fire away with any type of questions, whether it's Champions League related, Liverpool related. And as Jay says, he's here for me. My guy, my guy. Jimmy asks, where is everyone? I don't know if you heard that last couple of seconds, Jimmy. Avi and Gene actually, to be fair to him, wasn't supposed to be on, but Avi is supposed to be on. If he might be in around about 15 to 20 minutes if I've still got anything to talk about Lask, because I don't know anything about Lask. I should have done my research, but I thought Avi's going to be doing that today. But here we are. Beat the press says good, the bad, and the ugly in all one picture. Hamza says, big up Asim, my brother. Every single comment is going to go on screen today. So whoever complains we don't get the comments on screen, well, today is your chance. Whatever you want to ask, whatever you want to talk about. If you want to talk about Lask, let's go for it. But Esma El Sayed, a nice name, by the way. Which Champions League game did you watch? I was flicking through both games, to be honest with you. I expected Arsenal to stream a role PSV, so it was mainly Bayern Munich versus Man United. Believe it or not, as hilarious they are to watch, because they get cooked more or less every week this season. But I've not seen much of Man United this year, so I thought, you know what, let's check them out. A lot of my friends are Man United fans, and they've been telling me Casemiro's the problem, Bruno's the problem. He's buying, even though Mount has hardly played for him. They've been saying, look, why did we buy a guy who we didn't really need? But yeah, I checked them out today, and they're absolutely pile of shite. Even though, to be fair to them, Bayern Munich weren't really great. Musiala had a great game, but I thought it was a kind of poor game. Both teams weren't great. Rashford was looking dangerous on the left hand side. United created situations, but didn't really threaten, or any time the game that you thought, you know what, these guys are gonna steamroll, gonna get one over by Munich. But anyway, where was the last comment? Jay asks, Asim, thoughts on Julian Ward supposedly being back at the club. Look, Jay, no one has really come out. With all due respect, I haven't seen anyone really credible come out with this news. It's all sort of rumors and whispers at the moment. I personally don't think it's true. I hopefully it is. He comes in, he does the job, he takes off where he left off from, and he goes again, because he was working under Edwards and he was doing a good job. But and 6 months into the job, you don't sort of, for me, you don't leave and then come back. I don't know, but keep an eye out on the company that Edwards and Graham have started up. I forgot the name of it. Ludonics, something like that. Anyway, forgive me if I've got that wrong. But I read the article in the Athletic, and it said that these guys are sort of concentrating on proper high level type of stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised if Julian Ward has got a role to play in that company. But time will tell. Let's see what happens. Hamza, he's flown to Turkey today. He's actually landed there, but he was still not at his hotel. He's taken his laptop with him, so he should be on Sunday, hopefully. My guy, Adnan Tariq Jr., he says, big up Asim, dedicated. Junior, I could not cancel the show. It would have been, have you only got about 100, I was going to say 141, 41 soldiers with me tonight, but please fire away with your questions today. This is my first time I'm doing a show alone. It wasn't supposed to be. Avi, like I said, he's been out shopping with his buddy for a fireplace. Hassan says, Asim ji, you should have called me. Actually, sorry, I was watching the UCL. This is my nephew, probably watching the first game of the season. I think he's been trying to get tickets for the Arsenal and Spurs game. So he's been busy in the Arsenal groups trying to find a ticket. Arsenal for the Champions League. Adnan, that's a very good question, because I was having this conversation on WhatsApp throughout the night today. And Vicky says, should have invited me. I didn't know until literally 5 minutes ago, Vicky. I was alone, but it was too late to cancel, too late to call anyone. So if you want to jump on, give me the thumbs up and I'll send you the link. Adnan, yeah, Arsenal for the Champions League. Look, I've always rated Arsenal. I like the philosophy. I like the project that Arteta is building at Arsenal. And in terms of his coaching methods, up there with the very best. And who better can you come from and learn from than Pep Guardiola? And I always liked Arteta, and I know he was getting trolled with the ideas of playing "You Never Walk Alone" in the training fields and all that sort of stuff. But look, he's come through and he did the right things. There weren't popular decisions like the Aubameyang one a few years ago, but he needed to be ruthless and just needed to sort of trust his own instinct, and it's paying through and paying off. Sorry, and the owners, Karanke, they're backing him with money. Arteta has spent money, but spent it wisely, and you could see year in year out him putting the sort of the pieces in the jigsaw one by one. So yeah, credit to him. I think they're up there. Probably didn't have the legs, probably didn't have the nous, probably didn't have the courage or the mentality last year. And for me, they bottled it. Yes, they had some injuries. Partey fell off at the end of the season, and a few others. I think Jesus got injured for a couple of months. But in terms of quality and in terms of playing as a team, I don't think there's a team out there in Europe that's probably closer to City than Arsenal. That's how highly I rate them. And they play as a team. They probably don't have the depth as City, but in a cup competition, anything can happen. And yes, they lack a bit of experience on the big stage, so they'll need a bit of luck, more so than other teams, the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG as well. So, but they're a dark horse. I think that's probably fair to say. Beat the press. With lineup changes expected in the Europa League, do you think we should tweak our system too? Which probably is a good segue into my team. Avi had his team as well today. And there's a few of you guys asking what my lineup is for tomorrow. And I'll put it on and there we are. I'll put it on screen. And look, it's a bit. I was trying to sort of go into Klopp's mind. How is he going to play it? Also, sort of having a bit of bias towards the likes of Elliott and Gravenberch, because I want them to have some game time. But this is my team for tomorrow, because I think Van Dijk needs some minutes. I was even tempted to go with Kanate, and I wouldn't be surprised if Klopp plays Kanate. And I think the defensive area is a bit different to the midfield. I think the midfield needs a bit of a rest. The likes of McAllister, he's probably still suffering from jet lag after coming from Bolivia and all the sort of high altitude over that part of the world. But I think Gravenberch, it's time to give him a debut. I was thinking about giving him a debut at home to Anfield with his own crowd. But I think this is the perfect foundation, the perfect scenario to give him some minutes. And I think a lot of players might get 50, 60 minutes tomorrow. Van Dijk, I probably don't want him to play the full game. Kanate, if he starts ahead of Gomez, again, 50, 60 minutes. And the sort of surprise for you all probably is Bajcetic, our right back. Because I've been wanting, if the guys who've been following us for 5, 6 months, I've been wanting to see Bajcetic play this inverted role. We've seen Gomez play this inverted role on Saturday, and I think Bajcetic can do a much better job there. He's a lot better technically. He's comfortable in midfield areas. He's got a lot better sort of IQ than Joe Gomez, and he can track back. And he's obviously a capable defender from his centre back days as well. So yeah, I want to see Bajcetic. And one thing that Jurgen Klopp is trying this year is he's trying different things. He's playing a system whether it's, to answer, beat the press's question. I don't think we'll see a completely different system, but what we'll see is 2-3 different systems played out in the same game. And this is a theme of this year, whether it's a 3-2 build up, a 2-3-5 setup, a 3-2-5, a 2-2-6, a 4-2-4 general setup, a 4-2-2 general setup. Call it what you want. I think you'll see different setups. And this is what I've been talking about, and the guys have been talking about on the pods on a daily basis, where we've got the players now, because we've got guys who are so comfortable in any type of role. The likes of Gravenberch, who you'll see tomorrow, come in, probably play at, sort of parallel to Endo at times, and then go on to be a 8 and be a 10 as well. And we've seen it with Szoboszlai, we've seen it with McAllister as well. So fluidity is key, is because we've got the versatility and the adaptability of players who are so comfortable in any position. Shimikas, I think, is probably a no-brainer. Robo, I don't know how many games he's played that week when we had the international breaks. And Shimikas, I think he has got a role to play. He hasn't had many minutes this season, and I think he'll get the nod at left back. Harvey Elliott, again, I think he picks himself that position, because he's been knocking on the door. We saw him play as an inverted winger, part of the forefront when he came on. He keeps the ball really well, keeps things ticking. And I think if anyone deserves some time on the pitch from the start, is Harvey Elliott, because he's been absolutely brilliant from his cameo performances. So Harvey Elliott, for me, I think he deserves it. And Endo, I was a bit surprised he didn't get any minutes on Saturday. I thought he'd start ahead of McAllister because of the obvious reasons. I think he's a cert for the sixth position tomorrow. I'm just trying to keep an eye out on some of your comments. Nunes or Gakpo? For me, Nunes, it's a difficult one, and you could probably say this for the similar for every player, not every player, but majority of the players, where you choose in between game time, match fitness, and you want to sort of back of your mind, you really want to rest them for West Ham, rest them for Spurs away, Brighton away. We've got some really, really tough games coming up, but I think Nunes, he's that kind of player. He's a confidence player, and even though he's been playing well since Newcastle, you feel like he's still not getting enough minutes. So that's the only reason why I'm keeping Nunes, because he's a confidence player, and he's a player that he probably needs rhythm more so, majority of the players in the lineup or the squad. So he gets my nod. He'll only probably get 60 minutes because we have to keep an eye out on that muscle fatigue that he's come back with after international duty. Jota gets the nod for me ahead of Diaz, because I want to keep Diaz fresh for the next 3 games. And I think that team is more than capable of getting a result at Lask. If you're asking me how Lask played, I had a quick check how they played. I think last couple of the games they've been playing a 3-4-3 with wing-backs, and I think those wing-backs will turn into, proper full-backs, so into a 5-4-1, where they just protect whatever they have, even if it's a 0-0 scoreline from minute 1. And you'll see that them trying to sort of counter us tomorrow. But I think we should do have enough for him. And I'm looking forward to seeing Gravenberch in particular, how he comes, what sort of qualities he brings. We obviously know what he possesses as a player, but sometimes when a player comes, they sometimes surprise you. Just like Szoboszlai, I think we all knew that he's a bit of a much right-sided 8. He can sort of play in the comfortable. He's very comfortable in the number 10 role, left or right. But what surprised us this year in Szoboszlai was his comfort in playing in deeper areas. And you might see that in Gravenberch, because when we needed a natural destroyer, I know we bought Endo in, we thought we might go for another one, and we bought Gravenberch, a multifunctional midfielder. And a lot of the fans on Twitter or various platforms were discussing that, it might be that he's our number 6. And I think if you see that, it's not going to be straight away. The 6th position is a position that really needs time, especially the way we play. We saw Fabinho play, that sort of role. It took him about 3 to 6 months to learn that role high up the pitch, making us, sustain attacks or win the ball high up the pitch. And I think Gravenberch, if he's going to come and integrate and transition into a number 6, he's got a lot of learning to do. But in the meantime, he's going to show what sort of capabilities he has right at the moment. Yes, so I've gone through my team. Let's see what you guys think. Um, the admin, good job. I'm not alone. Smash and like, subscribe, Reds. If you're not watching this show now, then please smash a like, subscribe if you haven't done so. We only have one rule where you come in and you smash a like. Even if you don't like the show, which it helps us out a lot. So much appreciated on that one. I don't know where I came on. Endo can play right back, beat the press says. Yeah, he can. He's obviously multifunctional. He probably can play the centre back role. I think he's played centre back in the past as well. But yeah, I think we'll see maybe Endo, maybe in the Europa League, maybe in the domestic cup competitions, have a role at right back, left back, and centre back. It just depends on injuries. And a few fans are saying, look, we just need to play our best team. I think Unks is in the chat. He says Salah starts every single game. He does. And I think we have to treat Salah with a bit of sort of caution. He's our best player, no doubt. He also had a bit of a dip after the African Nations Cup last year. So that is the only reason. But there's an interesting thing that I read today about the Europa League, that if you top the group, you save 2 extra games in the sort of potential playoff stage. So I think Jurgen Klopp, if you, I quickly read some comments about his, after his, what do you call it, presser, and the way the manager was speaking, he's really serious about this cup competition. He actually said, look, if you accept the team, brilliant. If you don't, then, fine by me. Just move on because that is the team. And from his comments, I kind of take the sort of hint that this guy, he's going to go with a strong team. And yeah, I think he's the manager. We've started well. So there's a case of building momentum and carrying that rhythm on to the next 3 big games, because the next 3 big games. Look, I'm not sort of showing any disrespect to Lask, and actually saying that they don't deserve any sort of attention of ours. But the 3 league games for me are the most important, especially the way we started. And I mentioned it last show that the manager at City does not fear anybody else apart from Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp. Since he's been here, we have been their main challenges, and we've had some shocking seasons, unprecedented circumstances in both of them, according to myself. But I think it's time that we have another go at the title. And the only team that City really look over their shoulders and look out for the result, for me, is Liverpool. But let's see how it goes. And got a feeling Jota will start tomorrow. Tayyib says, I won't be surprised. I know Jota started on the weekend, but if Nunes don't play, Gakpo is probably not playing. Oh, here we are. Wow, what a surprise. Look who's here. My man from the Tactic Show. I don't know how he got the link, but here he is. Yes, Wiki. How are we doing, man?
What's going on? I got a
Wiki.
link from Adnan Tariq.
Oh, wow. You
The
know what?
media team were quick with this one.
You know what? I was actually going to ask the comments. I've not talked straight on for about 18 minutes. Normally, if I go for about a minute and a half, Avi or Gene just butt in. Avi gives me a load of shit for speaking for about a minute and a half. I thought, how the hell do people talk for this long? I've seen other channels and their content creators talk for about 40, 50 minutes. And boy, I was going to actually stop the stream and ask the guys, can I go for a drink?
Yeah,
because I didn't bring
even
any.
I got sick of it. That's why I joined. You do my editing.
How do people get a break? Oh my god. Tayyib, thank you very much for the kind comment. But Vicky, Lask tomorrow, do you know anything about him? Because I don't know fuck all about him.
I don't have a clue. I didn't even know it was home. But it's a European game, isn't it? But I just looking at your team. I just got a feeling Salah starts.
Ooh, I won't be surprised. Unks mentioned it. He always wants Salah to start. But I think Doak, maybe I don't I don't want to give people, or I think the manager doesn't give people or his players minutes judging by sentiment, or if you've just recently signed a contract in the case of Ben Doak. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either way, because I just think it depends. Because in November, apparently, when we're playing the back end of this group stage, we've got the likes of Man United, I think it is, maybe Arsenal in November as well. So it's probably an idea to get the job done now. And also, if you're probably thinking, they're not, a lot of the players are not even much fit. A lot of the sort of coaches that you hear talk about fitness, they mentioned that this international break is the first sort of barrier, or the point of season where the players really start getting full match fitness. And if you see Kanate, Van Dijk, who else is there? Obviously Soboslai, Nunes. Obviously, with him, his muscle fatigue has been preventing him. Not There's about 3-4 players that need match fitness, and I think you can expect them to come. But with Salah, why do you think he's going to start?
I saw Klopp's comments, and they were asking him, "Did you watch the Champions League?" He goes, "No, we didn't, and we don't miss the anthem either. We deserve to be here, and so do Lask." So it's typical Klopp, isn't it? You know, he might be just waffling, but I got a feeling it's gonna be a strong team. To be honest, I wanted Kanate to start 45 minutes at least, just to get a bit of rhythm. West Ham's going to be a tough one on the weekend. So, but I can see Sabosloy or Salah, or even one, or even both of them. I won't be surprised to see him start.
Wow. With the midfield, I think they need a rest.
Yeah,
Uh,
McAllister. I definitely rest McAllister, and it's perfect chance to see what Ryan Gravenberch is about as well.
Yeah, 100%. But I wanted to get your thoughts on Gravenberch, Vicky. When he came, we know what type of midfielder he is. Where do you see him fit short term slash, and long term, I should ask? Because there's a few fans that really wanted him to be the six, because he's got the natural attributes in terms of physique. But has he got the nous? Has he got the, not mentality, but the way of thinking of a natural six? Or do you think you can, develop that under Klopp?
Yeah, I was actually one of them that when he first came, I thought, you know what, just looking at his frame, he's
Yeah.
a kind of six. But then also Tuchel's comments.
Has he got
But
the hips? Has he got the hips?
yeah, his movement's not bad. He's a Paul Pogba, so he can dance a bit. Um, just going back, Tuchel's comments.
Yeah.
He said, "Look, he's not a six, and he's an eight."
Mm,
I'm just watching them today, Kimmich and Goretzka. I think Kimmich has always struggled without a natural defensive midfielder. Goretzka is like a Lampard, like a
yeah.
box scratcher, and he just looks out of place playing there. Um, I actually thought initially, you know what, I wanted to see him as a six,
Mm,
but it looks like Klopp's got his number six as in short term McAllister anyway. But I definitely want to see him there just because of the physicality. Like a midfield of McAllister, Sabosloy, and Gravenberch, that is pretty good. You can't get much better than that in terms of physicality and legs. But I'm not sure. I think LCM, I think that's the position. Whether that's from a diamond sort of position where it's deep and he'll go forward, or he'll stay as like a left-sided 10. No,
yeah.
I'll be honest, I've not seen much of him. The bits I have seen of him, he reminds me of like a Paul Pogba type.
Yeah.
So Paul Pogba's angles were always biased towards the left. So I'll have to probably say LCM.
Mm. And look, I'm not gonna lie. I've not seen a lot of Gravenberg, but the guys who don't rate him, they say he's lazy. Have you seen much of him, or do you see that sort of element in his game where, because that is one thing you can't be in the six.
Yeah, if that's what they're saying, then no chance. But then if he was lazy, I don't think Klopp would have signed him.
Yeah, of
So
course,
it can
of
work
course.
both ways.
Of course. I'll just get up a few more questions. Tayyip says the way we play this season, I feel we won't play the lone six. Will always be a double pivot. But Tayyip, with the way we start, Ricky probably explained, we do start with a lone pivot. But obviously, if we're going to play an inverted midfielder, then obviously effectively it's a double pivot. But on paper, before we kick off the ball, we do play with a single pivot.
Yeah, is why I don't really like to talk in general formations anymore, because they never really give the true picture of what we're doing. And we might set up as a 4-3-3, but on the ball, it's always we've always got two in there on their own, as in a pivot, whether it's
Yeah.
a 4-2-4 in our build up or a 3-2-5 in a settled attack. So I think that it doesn't really matter the pivot or single. there's always going to be different players in there. We saw Gomez in there,
Yeah.
Saboslo in there in different phases. So I don't think that's really anything to talk about. And Klopp, even in our old asymmetrical setup, we always had two sort of defensive kind of guys next to each other, whether that was Fabinho and Henderson, or
Mm.
Fabinho and Thiago, or Fabinho and Keita. So
Vicky,
I don't.
I'm gonna have to stop you there because you just mentioned an asymmetrical pivot, an asymmetrical setup. That's all right for the geeks, but can you explain to our viewers who might not know the term asymmetrical pivot or asymmetrical setup on the left or right? It could be anywhere on the field. What do you mean by that?
It's, Gene actually was having a go at me on the group about this, and I told him he's the opposite of symmetrical. That's the best way I can describe it. So where we will have, let's say we have three midfielders, the six and the right-sided eight. Actually, the six and the left-sided eight would sit closer to each other, and the right-sided eight would play as more of a high advanced 8/10. So you have a two and then a three, the third one kind of ahead.
So when we had Thiago, for example, parallel more or less in a double pivot to Fabinho, and then the right-sided ahead in a
Yeah,
Harvey Elliott position or
yeah,
a KDB position or a Henderson position.
yeah. I definitely don't miss them overlaps on the wing.
And also, look who's here. Look who's here. Blue chip. He said to me, I'm okay for half 10. And now this is why he says Mafi. Mafi, I'm a translator now as well. He's saying sorry. But look, you don't need to say sorry, Avi. We understand when the Woody calls the shots and the Woody wears the pants, then you have to listen. You just get your credit card out, and I hope you pick the right fireplace, because if you haven't picked the right fireplace, then she might chuck you in that fire. But Jean, I thought I saw Jean, but I'm so used to saying Jean. So forgive me today, Vicky. He says yes, Vicky. Vicky is the one. When are we doing our next tactical show? By the way, Vicky, you've got your haircut. You're smartened up. What's your problem?
I was waiting for you. I didn't get any response.
But there is
We are working on some like improvements. Me and Asim were talking about the show, and we want to get you guys some like proper footage, so you can obviously see what we're talking about rather than just looking at our mugs all the time. So definitely, you won't be waiting that long. Just
yeah,
trying to work
100%.
on a few things at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. How do I pronounce this name? Shubagoto Joy. Sorry, mate, if I've butchered that. He says I want Kwanzaa to start. If anyone deserves a start, it's Kwanzaa, but I think it depends on how bad that cramp was. I don't know. I didn't really have a look at the training pictures today, Vicky. If he's been training today, I'm sorry, I didn't really get to check. But from Saturday's performance, you wouldn't think twice. If he's fit enough, you wouldn't think twice to, sort of, if you can handle an away game after an international break, half 12, without Van Dijk, without Kanate, if you can handle that sort of pressure and that sort of game, then you can handle Lask in the Europa League, because Kwanzaa, in terms of his calmness, I think you mentioned it in one of the WhatsApps that one of his traits that you really liked was his passing.
Yeah, I actually put a starting lineup a couple of days ago, and I had him as the middle centre back. I really like him on the ball. He reminds me a bit. Tas. It reminds me of Van Dijk, just his calmness and his ability to play long balls, short balls, and he actually looks really comfortable on the ball. He was baiting the press, that kind of thing. It's early days, obviously, and at Liverpool, you always want the youngsters to do well, more so because we know we're not going to get anyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, I'd start him alongside Kanate, give Kanate 45 minutes, and then my fullbacks are the same as yours, Shimikas and Bajcetic.
Yeah. Tayyip says that I'd wrap Ibu up in cotton wool. It's a term that we hear in football a lot. But we also must understand that these guys are footballers. They're programmed, especially Liverpool players over the last 5-6 years, is programmed to play 3 times a week. And I know Ibu is that kind of guy. He's got the kind of body and kind of muscles that, do get strained from time to time. Well, quite often, if we're really honest. And he says, I'd wrap him up in cotton wool. But there's another term in football where you need to be match fit. And at the
Yeah,
moment, it's been a while since we saw Ibu in the team, and I think we've got a big game against West Ham. So I'd definitely give him 50, 60 minutes. Would you agree?
Yeah, I put him in 45 minutes. I'd give him a half, if not
Okay.
50, 60.
It looks like Tayyib's on form today with his comments. He asks, "Have you booked your hotel in Dublin?" Well, the manager told us to book the hotel in Istanbul, and we did. Uh, I've not booked the Dublin one because he hasn't asked us yet to book, but a lot of the fans have booked, and Dublin is that kind of stadium, is that kind of location where Liverpool fans are going to be in their thousands. Liverpool took about 80,000 over to Madrid. It seemed like about 8 million in Madrid over the course of the weekend. But in Dublin, especially with Liverpool's Irish contingent, that is going to be one big party. And I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool are there. And I think this is probably an incentive for Liverpool this season, where it is a cup, Vicky, that we haven't won before in terms of since Jurgen Klopp has been here. We lost in final. I think it was in Bâle, wasn't it, in 2015/16 against Sevilla, the Daniel Sturridge goal. And then since that, I think we played Dortmund the last time at Anfield in the Europa League. Was that the quarters or the semis? I can't really remember now. But it's an incentive because it is going to be a big occasion. I think if Liverpool, it would be nice to take that last trophy off for Klopp.
Yeah, I don't think he necessarily needs it, but an incentive is Champions League. You do get a
Yeah.
spot, don't you, if you win the Europa League? You do, don't you?
Yeah. I'm
So
quite
that's
sure. If someone in the comments can confirm, if you win the Europa League, you do get Champions League, don't you? Well, even though we don't need it, because we'll get Champions League by winning the league this year or winning the Europa League. So I
Yeah,
think,
I don't. Yeah, I don't think we need it. It's just, look, if we can get through the groups, and then obviously after that, anything's possible. Um, uh, Everyone always wants obviously players to rest, but um, we're gonna go for the league. We got obviously two of the cups. I think we've got the squad to do it, but we just have to be smart about it. That's
yeah.
the right way to do it. Look, 21, 22, we went for all four trophies. I know it cost us in the end, and it cost us another year, but we definitely got the squad to do it. And
Mm.
if we get through the groups, you never know. You never know. And a European Cup final is always something to look forward to.
Yeah, 100%. Jimmy says he's providing a bit of perspective in the comments tonight. He says, I don't think we should be talking about Dublin. This is a very long competition. It is. And I think that's one of the reasons why we probably need to finish top, get it over and done with, and save a couple of games. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't even know how this format, this competition works. I read somewhere that if you do finish on top in the group stages, you save potentially two games in the playoff stage. I don't know. Obviously, you've got the stage where the Champions League teams drop into the competition as well. So we might be playing Man United in Dublin. That'll be an occasion. But or even Arsenal. You never know. Not judging by tonight's performance, but I just thought I'd tease a few Arsenal fans in the comments. Luke has got a team: Kelleher, Shimi, Kwanzaa, Van Dijk, Gomez, Bajetic, Gravenberg, Elliot, Jota, Gakpo, and Doak. I want to ask you about Gakpo, Wike, where we were waxing lyrical, me included, at the start of the season about his sort of footballing skills, his connecting skills on the halfway line. Well, since Liverpool have bought Soboslai, since they've bought sort of McAllister into the team, who are very, very comfortable in those positions, you probably need a Haaland type of striker. What I mean by that is a guy playing more in the box, playing on the shoulder, and who better than Darwin Núñez? And the last 3-4 weeks, it has probably shown Liverpool need Darwin Núñez in this system more than Gakpo. Would you agree?
Yeah, look, I always said this from the start. I go, look, once we get some proper eights and they're functioning as they should do, we won't need Gakpo, because I think people they're quick to compare to Bobby Firmino, and I
Yeah.
don't think he's not a false nine like
Mm.
Firmino, and he's not a Nunes type or a Haaland type. So he's neither here or there. So I think at what was it 38 million, whatever it was, he's a very, very good squad
Yeah.
player. Can play a few positions, and depending on the way we set up, if we have a narrow left-sided forward, he can play there. So I think it's a good mix. Maybe if we play 4-4-2, he can play
Mm.
alongside Nunes.
Yeah.
But I think with Salah in that position on the right hand side, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But yeah, I think Nunes has to start now. I'm not talking about this game, but generally over the season, and he's
Mm.
shown that he's definitely if he'll definitely miss chances, but he'll also score chances. And we saw Haaland actually miss over the last two
Yeah.
games. I've seen him
Yeah.
miss 10, 15 chances, and everyone always talks about. But I always say that the guys with the highest goals in the season always have the biggest
Yeah.
chances. So I think it's just part of the parcel. Everyone expects. Look, if Haaland scored every single chance, he'll get 80 goals a season, and that's not realistic.
Yeah, 100%. And if you win in more or less every game 3-0 and 4-1 and 5-1, nobody talks about your missed chances because you made
Yeah,
it on the score sheet as well. And if you're getting
yes,
30, 40, 50 goals a season, like you said, nobody mentions it. But I think every fan really wants Nunes to start. And even the manager is desperate for him to start. You get the impression that he really wants to give him a run in the team. But to an extent, it's probably not his fault because this muscle fatigue, or he always
mm,
keeps. Last year there was an annoying ankle injury at the end of the season as well, where there was some reports about a bust up between him and Klopp, but that was never the case. It was just he was picking up annoying injuries. So let's hope he can just stay fit because we don't have that striker. That is it. We probably have a halfway house between Gakpo and Nunes in Jota,
Jota,
but
yeah.
Gakpo and Nunes are probably the extremes. And even when he came on, Avi, I disagreed with Avi on Sunday. He said there was a more measured or more controlled Darwin Nunes. I thought, look, there wasn't. It was just Darwin being Darwin and chaotic as normal. One coming off his shin, one coming off his knee, but he finds him in front of goal and that chance, like you were saying. But I don't care how he gets there, as long as he gets there and puts it at the back of the net 3 out of 4 times, then I'm happy. But I think I just have to reiterate that point that Klopp is probably desperate to put him in and flood him into this team and give him a run of games now, 7 to 10 games, and tell us what you've got. And if you can bag 10, 15 goals in, I don't know, 20 games, then we are getting some output from our main number 9. And like you said, he gives us something extra, and teams have to drop off 5-10 yards when he's playing, and which
Yeah.
probably gives everyone else a bit more space. And when you've got the likes of Trent, Szoboszlai, and McAllister with a bit more space, in the other parts of the pitch, then it can only mean a good thing for Liverpool. Um, where Jimmy sort of sends us back to the window, Vicky. He says, anyone remember when we were after Caicedo, Mount, and Lavia? We had a near miss with them three. What happens when they go to Chelsea? What happens?
Them guys are cursed, man. Uh, the Look, Mason Mount. I actually, when we were linked, I actually thought, you know what, he does offer us quite a lot on that right hand side in terms of
Mm.
overlapping Salah, being a box threat, being a right winger, being a 10.
Vicky, you were talking about overlapping. It looks like your internet is gone. Are you there? Can you hear me? No, I think I've lost you. So if you just go out and come back in, and I'll take a few questions whilst you do that. Oh, you're back. Are you back?
I don't know what happened there.
No, you're gone again. You're gone again.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, but it's blurry.
I don't know what's going on. The
No,
Wi-Fi
I
is
can
off.
hear you now. I can hear you now.
Yeah, look, I don't know where I cut off, but Mason Mount. I think every Liverpool fan was happy when we were linked with him. Because we know
Yeah.
we can offer us on the right hand side in terms of overlapping Salah, being a box threat, being a right winger, being a 10, being an 8, and just legs, which is what we needed. Uh, but as soon as Szoboszlai was linked, I've been a big fan of him for a couple of years, and I watch a lot of Leipzig players. So
Mm,
I really really wanted him. With Caicedo and Lavia, not seeing much of Lavia, but
yeah.
I always said with Caicedo, I don't think he's a natural 6, which
Mm,
I don't really think answers the whole question. But I just feel alongside, we were talking about the asymmetrical midfield.
yeah.
I think alongside a 6, where you can use his attacking instincts, I think that's his best position. Uh, it would have been a success for us, and I'm sure it'll be a success for Chelsea as well. But I just feel his best position is an eight, like a sitting eight, like a Thiago type, a Wijnaldum type. Um, and because if look, I want a six that's tall for a start. Aerial duels in terms of sustaining attacks is very very important. And Lavia, like I said, I've not seen much of him, but he looks a good footballer. And if you're in Man City's academy, they're producing a lot, so that's where he's come from. Um, I don't know, Chelsea are a weird one. I think they're going to take time. Caicedo and Lavia, I think they should be fine with the prices they paid for them. But obviously, I'm glad with what we got, but we are still missing a six.
There we are. Admin's on it today. Word of the night: asymmetrical, 100%. Even though our sort of screen is more symmetrical than asymmetrical, but anyway, we'll stop with the geometry. I was never good at that anyway. Even if does it fall into geometry anyway? I'll stop there.
Wrong person.
Vicky, prediction before we go for tomorrow, and prediction where we're finishing at the end of the season in the league. And I want two. Actually, no, I want go with your mind rather than your heart.
So first one tomorrow, I think 3-1 Liverpool.
3-1 Liverpool. Okay,
I
scorers.
won't say the goal scorers, because if I say Doak or something, I know Salah's going to end up starting or something. And we're going to win the league, obviously. I have to say that, don't I?
You're going to sing it for us.
What do you say?
Are you going to sing it for us?
No, I'm not going to sing it. We'll sing it in May time. Look, people on the BNR group, I've told them what I think was going to happen this season. I've started their messages. Let's see if I'll get them right. But
yeah, 100%. If you guys are probably wondering, you haven't seen Wiki on the stream. We've done a few tactical shows as well. He's been on a few Red Zone as well. But he's hard. He's my nephew actually, but he's a hard man to get hold of. But if you haven't or don't follow him on Twitter, Wiki, what's your Twitter handle?
It's my name, which is a long one, is Abdal_Wakil. Yeah, I need some followers, man.
there's a shout and there's a cry.
I promise some good stuff. I promise.
But no, on a serious note, give him a follow. There we are. Admin's on the ball today. On the ball.
Adnan's on the ball.
And I'm not saying it just because he's my nephew, but if you actually go check his content out, he's one of the sort of brightest young brains out there in terms of knowing the game, in terms of formation, setups, and general tactics of the game. And he talks about stuff that, in 2-3 months' time, pundits are even talking about. And I'm not chatting shit. You just go see his content, and you'll actually know what I'm talking about. So if you don't mind, if you're a bit of a Twitter member or Twitter geek, then head over that way and give him a follow. So yeah, I'll go with my prediction, Vicky. I think we'll probably win 3-0 tomorrow. I was going to say tonight, but it's still not midnight. 3-0. I think Nunes is going to start. He's going to grab 2. And I think
I've got a follower. It's worked. Thank you, Sheldon. 33.
There we are. Thank you very much, whoever that was. And I think the third one, I'm going to go for the surprise. Gravenberch is going to get a goal from outside the box, bottom corner, Tala. 3-0. Darwin bags a brace and Gravenberch gets the third. But thank you very much, guys, especially for the first half of the show. Vicky, thanks you very much for saving me a trip down to get a drink. I think I should do that.
Tango Berry.
You know what? There's a Tango Berry here. Boy, it's been here for a couple of days. I can't trust it.
He's absolutely obsessed with his drink.
I can't trust it because it's been here for about, 2-3 days. And it's about half full.
Longer.
If you didn't come for another 5 minutes, I might have closed my eyes and had a sip of that because I was badly in need of a drink. But thank you very much for yourself for popping in and providing a bit of insight for the last 20 minutes. And let's hope. Oh, what am I doing here? Let's remove that from the studio. But thank you very much for engaging all your questions. And we shall see you soon. We might do a post-match tomorrow if Avi or Chin can make it from Turkey. He has taken his laptop. He keeps telling me. But yeah, let's see how Liverpool get on tomorrow. And if this is their first sort of step in towards the direction towards the green of Dublin. You never know. This summer, the green of Dublin may become a sea of red. We shall see you tomorrow Take care. Bye bye.